yes, after much delay on my part, here it is. Finally, the King of Trios 2009 review. I talked about this, I guess, a couple weeks before it happened. Told people that were in the area that they should probably go. Actually, had a few people email me afterwards saying that they were glad they did, that they really did enjoy going, which was good, because CHIKARA is fun if you go, I think. I think if it's something you think you can go and you can get into kind of the crazy gimmicks and the fact that it's good wrestling and the fact that you're going to see, some young guys, and it is sloppy, but it's fun, and I think that's the big thing about it. Last year's, I definitely think was better than this year's, but this did not have the sheer size or just massiveness that one did, and CHIKARA did a good job, because they did say that this was going to be a smaller tournament because they just could not afford to bring in as many guys as they could the year before. So that's what we got, which was fine. And overall, I mean, you got to remember that this is 3 DVDs. One. Hope everybody saw that. I think everyone saw that. I hope everybody saw that. I should have seen that, I think. One. With the nice little, I don't know what that's supposed to be. Nice little Green Lantern motif there. And the Teen Titans motif there. So yes, there we go. All said and done. Still, I thought this was a pretty good show. Long shows, 3 DVDs, $60 on SmartMark. Of course, because it is on SmartMark, and SmartMark. I like CHIKARA. I don't like SmartMark too much, not because I don't think they're good, because everyone I've ever talked to that deals with them, only ever says good things, and that's the absolute truth. But it's the fact that they don't usually put up too many sales, and when they do, I don't think they're great sales. But they are what they are, and if you want to see the stuff, then you're going to see the stuff. But anyways, let's get on with this big, massive review, because this will be a big, massive review. Now, this is a 3-night tournament, but it should be viewed as one big, huge thing. So there we go. The first match that they start off with was the First Family taking on Team Epic War with Austin Aries, and Austin Aries playing this weird kind of face character that was kind of strange, particularly since the next night when we saw him, he was go full on heel, ROH heel style, so it was very strange. This was a good match, not a great match. Still good, fun, enjoyable. Particularly you had Eric Cannon in there, who I like a lot. And of course, Austin Aries. Hadn't seen too many other guys. I think I may have seen Darin Corbin once, I think, maybe. But his name sounds familiar. Ryan Cruz's name sounds familiar too, but I don't think I've ever actually seen him. So, but overall, it was an enjoyable match, a good match, and went right from there. Then we had Team Pro Wrestling Guerrilla of El Generico and Matt and Nick Jackson taking on the Osirian Portal. I'm a huge Osirian Portal fan. I like them. I like them a lot. I think they're enjoyable, and they always kind of make me laugh and that sort of thing. And ultimately, with CHIKARA, that's kind of what you have to ask is did you see something entertaining? I thought this was entertaining, fun. The El Generico stuff was good. The fans were definitely into El Generico, and of course their Osirian Portal were, their heelish selves. So this worked pretty good and was lots of fun. Then we had Team Uppercut taking on the Roughnecks, and Team Uppercut, they were one of the teams the tournament was kind of built around, being that it was Claudio Castagnoli, Dave Taylor, and Bryan Danielson, taking on the Roughnecks of another team that, particularly if you watch a lot of indie stuff, was pretty. Our CHIKARA in general would have been a pretty big team. Brodie Lee, Eddie Kingston, and Grizzly Redwood. They did a little promo beforehand. You had a very kind of mixed match of styles. Wasn't overall a good match, but was an okay match for what it was. Just was kind of there. Then we had the return of the Soul Touchaz, who were from last year, were probably the most over team coming out of last year, I would say. These guys showed up and got over in a big, huge way, taking on Team CZW of Beef Wellington, Greg Excellent, and Pinkie Sanchez. This was another kind of, you would think like a mixed match of styles kind of, but this was kind of enjoyable because they did all sorts of pretty funny comedy spots and some other things. I really liked this. I thought this was really good and was a lot of fun and was just something different that you don't normally see on a lot of things. Some people probably think it was too indie, but who cares. Then we had the Deathmatch Kings of the Necro Butcher, Toby Klein, and Brain Damage taking on F.I.S.T. This was surprisingly good, hard-hitting, kind of what you'd expect, I guess. But some just crazy, crazy stuff, particularly between Gran Akuma and Necro, where they were just beating the crap out of each other. And it was beautiful, and it was lovely, and it was just like, oh my god, this is kind of cool. So, that was good. Then we had a match that I thought I would enjoy a lot more, but I really didn't, which was The Future Is Now, taking on Team DDT, and this was Kota Ibushi's this was his team. A lot of people were looking forward to that. Same thing with all of these guys. I mean, this was probably, if you look at the first night, other than the main event, this was, or what I would consider the main event was, not really the last match on. The match most people were probably looking forward to. Kind of underdelivered, was just kind of good. And when you say something's good and kind of underdelivered, I think that says something. But it was what it was. Was probably just not my cup of tea. Probably didn't seem to get into that gear of just being really good to great. But there you go. Then we had what I consider the main event. Wasn't the main event of the night, but what I consider the main event, which is the Masters of 1,000 Holds with Mike Quackenbush, Rivera, and Johnny Saint, the amazing Johnny Saint. I would say get these shows just to see Johnny Saint. I'm not kidding about that. To see what this guy can do at his age. People will say it's like, too many people say it, but it's true. It's just like, wow, did I just see that? And it's not that he does anything that's just amazing. It's just how he does it. It's just kind of beautiful to see, and you could definitely just, I would imagine if you were a wrestler and being in the ring with him would just be awesome, because you'd be learning so much while he was just doing these simple things that just you wouldn't think should work, but worked. Taking on Incoherence of Delirious, Halloween, Wicked, and Frightmare. I liked this a lot, mainly because I like pretty much everybody that's in this match, so I was going to like this a lot. Probably more than I thought it would. I thought this would just be a really good match. This was a very good match. Just good stuff and just really enjoyable. Then we got what turned out to be the main event. It's supposed to be Al Snow, Glacier, and Iceberg, but Iceberg apparently missed his flight or something, so they had a mystery partner taking on the Unstable. This was okay, except the fact that it went on way, way, way too long. And not the match part went on way, way, way too long. They did the whole bit like they usually do during this, where guys miss out, so they're gonna pick a name out of the hat, which was kind of making fun of Al Snow. It was like every gimmick Al Snow had ever done, and Al Snow and Glacier wanted to use Head. Glacier was way over. I think he gets the fact that, have fun with it. And the guy that it was D'Lo Brown. I would think that this match would be better than it was, but it was just kind of okay. Kind of left the night out on kind of a sour note. But the whole bit of them continually picking names that were Al Snow gimmicks was kind of funny. So there was that. But definitely, I think the match before should have been the main event. And overall, the first night was very good. There was nothing horrible. I would say the worst stuff on this was just okay, and that's kind of saying something. There was nothing great, but there was a lot of good to really good. It's CHIKARA, so it just kind of depends on what you like and what you don't like. Then the next night, and some people were upset because of some of the people who lost the night before, particularly Team DDT and Team Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, because a lot of people wanted those guys to do really good, but was not the case. And so, but the next night, we got a tournament within a tournament. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of the tournament, but it was another tournament that they decided to put on starting the night after. And the first match that we got was Matt Jackson, Player Dose, Austin Aries, and Fire Ant in a good match, good little opener. It was a lot of fun. Austin Aries was awesome during this, and just really good. And I think was kind of MVP of this match. It was still just a good match, but he went back into ROH heel persona, which was very strange indeed, I must say. And so there was that. It was a good match, though. Then we had the First Family taking on F.I.S.T, and that started with a nice little promo by the First Family, comparing themselves to F.I.S.T, so that was kind of good. And this was a good match, another good match, good back and forth action, which you would probably expect between these guys. Then we had the worst match of all of these DVDs. And I hate saying that, because I understand they just kind of brought these guys in just so they could kind of get a look, because more people are going to see this than pretty much anything. I really think this tournament has kind of, particularly after last year and just the kind of the hype that it had even after the event took place, it felt much bigger than Bola, and even felt much bigger than IWA Mid-South's big giant tournament, the Ted Petty tournament. So just more so in that way. So I'm sure that it was a way for some of these guys to kind of get looked at. But this was bad. It was from, let me say that, it was from the Lethal Wrestling Alliance Showcase match, is what they called it. Davey Vega, Gary the Barn Owl, who was insane, and then it was just bad. Then the Submission Squad, who I've heard of, but I've never seen. I gave this a star and a half. I'm probably being somewhat generous with that. This was not a good match. This was just, I wanted this to end by the end of it. I mean, but there was some good stuff, and particularly probably the Submission Squad, but none of these guys looked like they were wrestlers. None of them it felt like it felt like that bad indie stuff that I always hate. I hate to bring up, but that's kind of what it felt like, and I hate saying that, but it's just kind of the way it is. Then we had the Futures Now versus the Osirian Portal. Again, a match that I thought, would be better than what it was, but it wasn't, unfortunately. So, there is that. But this was just kind of okay, and not nearly as good as I thought it was. It just didn't click for whatever reason, which was good, because by the time the next match came about, people were definitely ready to kind of get out of their seats and see something truly wacky and incredible. We had El Generico, Jigsaw, Kota Ibushi, and Nick Jackson. Good God, was this awesome. Sidhu Chase, he often, when he's been talking about this match. And he makes a very good point, so I'm going to quote him on this. That, you always have that one independent match which isn't an ROH match, which people just say you have to see this match. And literally, this might be that match. This was very good. Really enjoyed it. And a lot of crazy spots. Ibushi was mad over. El Generico was mad over. All the guys were just really good. They just flowed together. It was just something very, very fun to watch. So there was that. Then we had the Soul Touchers versus the Unstable. This was kind of, I would say it was okay. Not as good as you would think, but I think that had to kind of do with the Unstable being good heels. And the Soul Touchers kind of being over, and the guys just not probably working too well together, and just kind of formulaic and just kind of there. It was okay, but nothing too wonderful. As was the next match, which was for the Interspecies Wrestling Championship. Player Uno versus Twiggy. Another just kind of okay match went out there. They hit some moves, they hit some good moves, had some good spots, but it was nothing that you're going to remember, and it just didn't feel to have much to it, so there was that. Then we had the main event, which was the semifinals. This is what you would expect to be the finals of this tournament, but they didn't. They did it the next night, which was kind of a neat thing to see. We had Team Uppercut taking on the Masters of 1,000 Holds, and this was all sorts of awesome. They started out with all the guys kind of respecting each other, and they had Claudio playing with Mike Quackenbush, and then they had Skyda playing with Dave Taylor, and then they had Bryan Danielson and then with Johnny Saint, which was just freaking awesome. And then eventually it did get down until the point where they started working over Bryan Danielson's leg, which was a kind of a constant during this entire tournament. And this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. Thought this was awesome. Again, you have to see Johnny Saint. You just have to see him, because it's just so insane to see him at his age, just be able to just put on an entertaining match and put on a better match than a lot of guys know how to. You could just learn so much from just watching him. Nothing crazy. Not even taking many bumps. Just doing crazy kind of just World of Sport crap that just worked. But it was a lot of fun and just enjoyable. So there was that, which led us to the next night. We had Team Uppercut taking on the Unstable. This was an okay match. I'm not too big on the Unstable, so I was just kind of like, eh. But this was okay. Nothing great, nothing wonderful, just kind of eh. Then we had the Future Is Now taking on F.I.S.T. This was really good, with lots of back and forth action, just crazy stuff, and you had high flyers in there with high flyers, and then you of course had some hard hitting stuff with Grand Akuma. Just really enjoyable match. I mean, I would say this is what I would just call just a good match, I guess is the best way to do it. Then we had Eric Cannon taking on El Generico. Good match. They went out there, have a good match. Went out there, had a good match. El Generico was over. It was fun. It was what it was. Then we got the 12-team gauntlet match, which is the big, long, crazy gauntlet match. I'm not even going to go through all of this because it's just, it's almost an hour long, I think. I think it was, all total, I think it was 40, maybe 50 minutes long. Which is good because, TNA sometimes does these gauntlet matches and they only last like 15 minutes. And I'm always like, well, that was not good. But this had some good comedy stuff in it. This had good comedy stuff, good wrestling, more comedy stuff, kind of told a story at the same time. You got to see a lot of the same guys you got to see from the night before. It was just fun. I mean, this was just good, and watching it, I was like, why can't we have more gauntlet matches like this? I mean, really, truly, it was good. Then we had the Colony making their appearance, and the North Star Express of Darin Corbin and Ryan Cruz taking on the Osirian Portal, and 2 members of Team DDT in Kudo and Michael Nakazawa. This was a lot of fun. Michael Nakazawa, I know I didn't pronounce his name at all right, but oh well. I love because he's funny and funny and very funny. This was a lot of fun as well. I really enjoyed this. Just crazy stuff and more crazy lucha Chikara type, just 8-man fun stuff. Then we had the Austin Aries Eddie Kingston match. I was looking very forward to this. This was okay, which is kind of underwhelming. And they just went out there. They had a good match, or they had an okay match, I should say. But it was nothing blown away. It was not as good. Especially Eddie Kingston cut a hell of a promo beforehand. I don't know why someone just doesn't bring him in just to be a manager somewhere. But managers, of course, don't exist anymore in pro wrestling, which is unfortunate because he'd make a really good one. So there is that. Then we had the finals to the tournament that I will not try to pronounce, with Player Dose taking on Kuda Ayabushi. Ayabushi, I think I butchered his name as well. Not as good as I thought it was going to be. It was still good, with Ayabushi going out there and doing his crazy aerial assaults, and Player Dose going out there and putting on, and really just kind of, not, I would say matching him for moves, but not looking like he was in there with a guy that was just tons better than him. So that was good to see. Just a good match. Then we had the finals, which was Team Uppercut taking on F.I.S.T. Very good match, where we saw kind of the storyline of the tournament, which was everyone working over Bryan Danielson's leg. Keep going. It was kind of the story of the match. It was really good. Not as good as I thought it was going to be, but still really good. It was a lot of fun, and was a good finish to the night, and to the tournament, I will say. And overall, good stuff. I would definitely say buy this. Not as good as last year's, I would say, just because, like I said, it doesn't have the massiveness. Wasn't as much fun as last year's. It was a little bit more serious, and I think that kind of hurt it in some ways. It was still a lot of fun, though. Don't get me wrong. But, just really enjoyable. Getting to see Johnny Saint on U.S. soil in front of fans that would appreciate him was great to see. And like I said, I would recommend getting the first 2 DVDs just for that, and the 3rd DVD just so you can see how everything else plays out. Good stuff overall. I'm sure a lot of people are going to complain that, you know, I just kind of touched on all of the matches, but we had so many matches and so much to go over. I just think that's kind of the best way to do it. So there we go. But definitely recommend it. I'd give it an 8.0 overall. Not great stuff, or I shouldn't say not great, but not as great as you would think. And given the fact that it is, you know, $60, that kind of hurts it to me a little bit. But still, for $60, you get a ton of wrestling. You get much better stuff than anything you would get if you bought for, let's say, you know, all the people that complain about WrestleMania. This was definitely better than WrestleMania this year. And after, you know, your taxes when you bought pay-per-view, it was probably about the same amount of money. So there you go. Or any other, you know, major pay-per-view after you get taxes. I think what, it's like $45, so about $50, so about $10 more. You can enjoy that. And, you know, they do have sales every once in a while. Not big sales, but they do have sales. So there is that at Smart Mark Video. So, again, took a while, but there we go. It is finally here. Definitely check it out. I thank Mike Quackenbush and crew because it's fun. If there's one thing about CHIKARA is that it is fun. It's definitely more family-oriented to a lot of degree. The fans get it, which is kind of cool to see. I think a lot of the fans enjoy that because it's not, you know, broody wrestling. It's fun, kind of crazy wrestling. A lot of people probably wonder why I like this more than PWG, which I do like more than. For some reason, I like CHIKARA more than PWG. I don't know why. There's something about PWG just, I don't know. But to each their own. And you know, and to each their own is really why I don't really review a lot of CHIKARA stuff. So before people start asking if I'm going to do more with CHIKARA stuff, probably not. Not because I don't like the company, but because I just don't feel comfortable recommending a lot of their shows. Not because I don't like them myself, but because I know that not everyone will like them, and that it's really for, you know, a very select few of people. And that's not to say that I'm being elitist when I say that. I'm just saying that, you know, it's you have to kind of see it to kind of understand what I'm saying. And if you watch the podcast, you kind of get kind of the feel that CHIKARA is. But this is a good way to start out, or these DVDs, to just kind of see if you would like it. And if you like it, you'll probably like the rest of it, and you probably enjoy a lot of the rest of it. So there is that. So go buy these DVDs. Do not download them. You know, CHIKARA is one of those places that does need your money and doesn't have the outlets that other places do. So definitely, you know, if they're somewhere near, definitely go check them out. See if you'll enjoy them. I think I've never seen one of their shows where I wasn't like, I didn't feel like I at least want to be there. I had said this before when I was talking about trying to get people to go to these shows, if they would go to. That I wish I could have gone, because I really would have liked to have gone. And of course, you had the fan expo thing that they had beforehand, which looked completely awesome, where you could get stretched by Quackenbush, which that's just awesome. As much as I probably wouldn't have liked it, it still was awesome. And you do promos with guys, and of course, I didn't even talk about probably the best part of these DVDs, and I just remembered, is the commentary. Good Lord, the commentary is so good on these, because they have various guys doing commentary throughout. It's not always the same guy, and each guy kind of has their, you know, you have Mantis, who kind of has his way, and then you have Quack, who kind of does his way, kind of more of an old school face versus heel thing. And you have so many different guys who talk about different things. You have some guys that, you know, are a little more smart in their commentary than some other guys, but it all works out so well. It's all very fun. And it just adds so much. And I just listen to these guys and go, wow, these guys are all so much better than a lot of the commentary you'll hear pretty much anywhere, that it's pretty scary. But anyways, I've rambled on far too long. I wanted to try to keep this short, but anyways, there we go. With that, I'm out. Have a good one. Buy these. Go to Smart Market, buy these. Thank you, and later.